my friends, this is Rick, and this is your seat at the table. Uh, I do these once in a while. This is some great opening reveal, but it's not. Yeah, I got it, and this is the first time I've ordered any kind of Battletech Mechwarrior book in probably 20 years. 20 years. Uh, there's so much stuff out there. I stopped buying Battletech material in 2001, 2002. So it's there was a number of reasons for that. I had some issues back then, some financial problems, and some reality checks in my world and my life. I took a big hiatus for a number of reasons. Uh, Also because Facet had failed, and I I didn't know. A lot of times when game companies fail, they lose their franchise or they just up and sell out. Things change radically, or they just stop. I have numerous game systems sitting on my shelves that more or less, for all intents and purposes, are defunct. They're no longer in production. While there's still some fan-based stuff, and there's still a few quote official things that get pop up here and there, the actual stuff ended. It took a big bump in the road. Fan Pro come out a few years after Facet closed, or shortly after that. Don't you guys would know this better than me? You Battletech fans would definitely know this better than me, because I can't, and I'm not going to go do the. I'm not going to do my due diligence on it because I don't really care. I just know that it did, and they started reproducing a lot of things. Some of what they did was just copy, and Catalyst Games has done the same thing. They got the franchise rights to the old material, and were able to reintroduce a new edition of, or a new printing of the original stuff. And yet they also added a bunch of other new things. Another thing that really soured me was the sudden introduction to this quote jihad in the Dark Ages. With all respect, it was crap. I mean, where everything went and was going, and after the Klan invasion and the Fed-Com war and all this stuff was leading up to more of the traditional style, there was a sudden radical change that almost came out of left field with the word of Blake and the jihad, and I was despondent with it a little bit. I got bored with it, and that added to my issues. So I was less, when I had much smaller resources. I bought a few of the Dark Age novels, which I eventually may do a review on, but I do not have by any means anything close to the complete collection of them. And after that fact, it just fell off my radar, and I didn't think about it. I didn't look at it. I shelved everything. A lot of stuff went into storage, and I just let it go. I also focused on working on trying to create my own game system, which I've got some videos way back in the day on my channel of my own game system, and that is also more or less sidelined because it's so. Anyway, you'd have to go see the videos on that. I had a contract and a deal that they never honored, and I don't know what to do, and I don't have the means to really pursue it at the moment, and etc. But down the road, we'll get there. Anyway, one of the downsides. This is another problem I have with trying to get back into a game system that I haven't played in 20 years. I don't have a dedicated group of players to start with. I don't have somebody come over on the weekend and play games with. I haven't for a long time, and it's hard with my weird hours and stuff to. I don't even begin to know where to start. I mean, there'll come another time. My life goes in cycles, and my life will cycle around again to where I have a chance to do some stuff, and I intend to do that, but it's not at the moment. So this is why I focus so much on the videos and things, because it still lets me and share my love of the game, the love of the gaming, and just everything about it, and the various types of games I really like. But one of the downsides, though, is when you try to reintroduce or go back and get new stuff, is you have to be cautious about what you buy. When I'm back to I don't have deep pockets. There are weeks when my wife and I, we pay our bills and there's nothing left. There's just literally, if you got $20 to your name, oh, we still had $40 from last week. That's a huge thing. And the fact that all our bills got paid, we're not juggling stuff, but there's just no surplus. There's no money for savings. There's no money put back for emergencies. And so when you do get money, a nice chunk of money, you need to do that. And sometimes I break down and I'll get something for myself once in a while, but nowhere near like I used to do. Life is what it is. The downside is you might buy something that's basically something you already own in a nicer package. And to me, that's a great thing. It's a good thing. It's a waste of money. And this, unfortunately for me, is one of those. I read the caption for the book, and unlike going to a game store, like back in the day when I bought 99% of my stuff from the game store. I went to the store, I held the book in my hand, I went through it, and I could look at it and I go, I have this already. I have an older version of this. This is one of those reasons why I'm a kind of a grognard when it comes to the never-ending editions. Dungeons and Dragons is in its officially 5th edition, which is actually like the 9th edition if you look at all the variants and stuff. And I have the entire majority of the 2nd edition and 3.5 edition. And those are awesome systems, and they're great, and they're solid, and they work. And then the 4.0 and the 5.0, it's a money game for them. And I get that. I understand that. But not all of us have that luxury. So if you're new to the system and you're new to the world and the gaming and you're buying into the newest version of this stuff, you're where I was 40 years ago. Now, I don't have that luxury now. So this was almost a $40 when I had shipping and handling. It was a little over $40 expense that was pretty much, well, looked nice on my shelf, but it was a total waste. And I wasn't able to, the caption they gave, the description they gave, I didn't take time to really read it well and give it a chance to sink in, because I had the impression that it was something new and improved, and it's not. So, like I said, this is a nice, right? When I looked at this and I was reading it, I was looking at this piece here. I thought it was on the Secession Wars. I didn't realize it was, I knew it was a technical readout, but I thought it was new, or bringing in new stuff or new old stuff. And what it is Catalyst Games went back and they went to all the various technical readouts, which I own, and I will do reviews of. But I have the 3050, the 3039, I have the 3050, the 3058, and 3075, as well as the 3025. So basically, all this stuff, hey Frankie, you help yourself open the door, is just a rehash of what I already own. So there is really nothing new in here that I don't already have. The same art, the same information, in one of my other source books. Which, if you're new to the system and you don't own any of those older systems, and they're obviously hard to get, and you wanted a printed version, because I have no thing personal against PDFs. I don't like PDFs in the long run because they're not physical. I can't physically hold them and research them and interview them. They tie up a computer screen, and they're not convenient. It's hard for me to take my laptop full of PDFs with me to work out there in the greasy truck. It's just not practical, where I can take something like this with me and reread it and read through it. Like right now in my truck is the first issue of Bass's Periphery source book, which I've been going through and kind of reading through for entertainment purposes and other stuff. So while these are great, they're not really new to me, and it even says that when you go into more depth. And we're back to that. This is what I got. This is what happens when I went through Amazon, and Amazon's caption was not very detail oriented to me, right? So it is what it is. Meanwhile, if you're just introducing yourself to Battletech, or you have the resources to constantly keep up and the latest editions of everything, this look great on your shelf. It's awesome. It's suitable. It's usable. Don't get me wrong. Probably once I go to the point where I may reintroduce myself and try to get back into doing some limited gaming, one of my possible options is that there's several game stores in the Des Moines metropolitan area that have gaming rooms, which 30, 40 years ago, the old game stores didn't have that. That was a luxury. These newer ones all have areas set aside. So Mayhem Games on the west side has a huge section. They actually rented an entire store next to their original store and turned it into a gaming room. And so there may come a time when I find myself the ability to get a specific day with some certain hours every day, every week, or every couple of weeks to go and sit down and maybe put up an ad and say, hey, come sit down and play Battletech with me. You know, let's do some more gaming again, or et cetera, et cetera. But that's neither here nor there. Awesome stuff, great material. I really wish my $40 had gone to buy something completely new. There's so much. Here's another downside. And you're in the industry, you're in the game hobby, you're in this, you understand this fully what I'm talking about. These things are limited edition. So, and it's doubly so when they change. So you can't all the fastest stuff now in the past has to come this way. So if you never had any of the original stuff I have, this is the only way you're likely to get it, because trying to purchase the original stuff, unless you have really, really, really deep pockets, they're retardedly outrageously expensive because they're rare. There was only X amount produced, and maybe 40, 50,000 copies were produced and bought by crazy people like me, and some of them were destroyed and lost and given away and thrown away, etc., etc. And others like me left them on the shelves and took care of them as best we could for 40 years. And that's why they're still around. So having them reintroduced is awesome. I have no problem with that. I would like to have new material in my menu. But when FASA went belly up, FanPro put out some stuff. Well, FanPro started doing the same thing, was rehashing a lot of the old Battletech stuff, or the old FASA material, which is great. They also added some new things, but I missed out on some of that stuff, so I didn't catch that. And the new introductions. And then since then, Catalyst Games come out. Now, Catalyst Games produced a number of things, but they did limited runs. For whatever reason, they sold what they thought the market would bear, and they didn't choose to go back and re-sold. Operation Klondike, for example, I would dearly love to have Operation Klondike source book. I've got a PDF of it, but it's not the same. It's not the same, and the cost it would cost me to take it to somewhere to print that PDF out, because I don't have the money to throw $40 away on my printer ink to produce this thing myself. And my printer is a very basic printer. Double-sided printing is pain in the ass. You want a machine that can do it without you needing to manually try to flip everything and waste paper. So, and then we're back to also, there's something weird, because if you ever done a Xerox, if you ever copied or printed out a PDF, that PDF folder is 2 to 3 times thicker than what the printed version would be, and the paper's not, I don't think the paper is really any different. I don't understand how that plays out, why it plays out that way. It could just, there must be a reason. I'm sure somebody in the industry can tell you why, or tell me why. But anyway, so I'm probably never going to have Operation Klondike sourcebook, because I can't afford this. I've seen some as high as $1,000 on eBay. Are you effing me? I mean, I know, come on, right? Even a $99 version, $130 version, I can't justify. I can't spend that money. I just can't, because I don't have it. Simple as that. So, you know, that was the other problem, and it still is. Now, in my Dungeons and Dragons stuff, I started a year and a half ago. I started doing some online gaming with D&D Beyond, and everybody's using 5th edition, so I felt obligated to get. I tried using most stuff, and everybody cried. They just complained, they bitched and moaned, and and I'm like, Jesus, dudes, we ain't all Rockefellers here. So I broke down, and if you've ever bought those books, they're $50, $60 a piece just to get a couple of the core books. It took me 2 years, and I still only got 4 of them, because it's just so damn expensive compared to the 40 second edition books I got, or the 30 third edition books I got. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm maybe over exaggerating on the number, but it's the idea. So, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. There's a bunch of good stuff Catalyst put out, I would love to have some of those compendiums. Basically, all the old fashioned rules and updated stuff all work together in a nice package. Those would be awesome. And I was debating on buying one of those because you can still get them for 35, 40 bucks. When I saw this, and I was thinking, oh, they got a book on the Succession Wars, and I was thinking what it wasn't, because that's another thing. The Battletech universe is so deep and rich that you can have entire epics or eras and support it. They could do an entire series of campaign and source books and technical read up manuals and stuff, just the first Succession War and the second, and because we started in the third. The 3025 was the third. It was the ending of the third Succession War and the birth of the fourth Succession War, which was much short-lived compared to the previous three. And there's such a vast amount of untapped stories yet to be told and material to be created for those earlier epics. And I know damn well people would buy it because I would buy it as much as I could. See, but we're back to that other issue. The game companies are in it to make money. And the more material they can put out in a year, the better off they are. So we're back when I was in my 20s and I was a bachelor and I lived in my mom's basement. I'd spend a good third of my damn paycheck every week buying game stuff, and I would buy 4 or 5 or 6 books back when they were, $10 to $20. And that was equivalent to the $5 an hour minimum wage, $5.35 an hour minimum wage I was getting back then. So I would literally spend a third of my check on game material because I didn't have, somebody else was paying for my rent in my house, my rent, my lights, and the utilities. I fed myself, put gas in my beat up car, and worked and played. And then as years guide, lives change, things change, money gets tight. You understand. I get much better pay now than I did then, but still nowhere near what I would like to have to be able to afford the sheer amount of stuff that comes out. And then it becomes apples and oranges. What's your current thing? I can't keep up with all the Star Wars releases and all of the Dungeons and Dragons releases and the Battletech releases. I just can't keep up with everything anymore, and I have to pick and choose. So I made a choice, and this one was probably a poor choice. In the long run, it'll look nice on my shelf, and then it will be. I won't need to pull out my 5 or 6 other older technical readouts, and they can stay on the shelves and stay in good shape because all that pertinent information is pretty much in here. I mean, I did see there was one back in here, Hammer something, that I don't recognize. So there might be a couple in here that got in here, but all these here, I recognize all these in my other books. And since it's been a while since I went through my other ones, and I plan on doing that to do reviews for this channel, I might discover that they're in there too. So this is Rick, and my gripe and bitch and moan for the moment, and hope you all have a great weekend.